Hi guys, this is part 5 of the humanoid AI firing behavior script tutorial, and in this part we will be talking about optimizing raycast shooting. Let's duplicate this soldier, rename him to be team 1 soldier, and change his team using the switch team script. His team ID is changed automatically, as you can remember from the previous tutorials. Let's put him somewhere here, rotate him back towards his enemy, and select team 1 soldier, expand the hierarchy to find the shooting point, and inside the shooting point we'll select the reload to be 0 and 0, so he would not be able to fire at the green soldier. Let's put his health to be something huge, so we'd make sure he'll survive this test. And let's get back to the team 2 soldier shooting point, and here we will set up his checkbox to be enabled for the optimized raycast shooting. When you enable this checkbox, the optimization for the raycast shooting options, it will not work with the projectile shootings. It is related only to the raycast shooting, and when it is unchecked, for each shot that the green guy will do, he will have a separate raycast be performed for each of those shots, which has a potential to become a very performance heavy if multiple of those agents will be doing fully automatic fire at multiple targets at the same time. Here we can see that the magazine size is 100, so for each of those shots in that magazine he will do a separate raycast for each of those shots, which, depending on the fire rate of that weapon and how many agents are using that weapon, that number of those raycasts can get real huge real fast, in case there are like a couple dozens of them firing it. And doing so in full auto mode will flood this combat scene with those thousands of those raycasts. So for those cases, when you have multiple enemies, dozens of those agents shooting at each other, we do the optimization of that raycast, so there would be only one raycast essentially for a few consecutive shots. Right now the value inside this field is 30, which means that for each 30 shots there will be only one raycast performed. But the most optimal value is to be 3. We came up with this final value after doing a lot of tests, and I'll explain you why. Note that with each new closest enemy, AI agent will reset this count from whatever it was when it was shooting the previous closest target. As soon as it switches to the next closest target, this optimization count resets back and starts counting all over again. Let's do a quick test. Here you can see that the green soldier is shooting the yellow soldier, and if we move closer to the green guy, he shifts his fire towards the player, because the player is now the closest target. You can see that the player's health is decreasing, and this optimized number of shots per raycast gets reset. Although it was not completed since the last cycle of shooting at the previous target, as soon as it started shooting at the player, it got reset back to the whatever value was in the field. In this case, it was 30. And if the player goes back a bit, the green soldier switches back to the yellow guy, resetting his optimization cycle. And that will happen every time the closest target will change for the shooting agent. Another thing to note is that the bullet spread will not be working if this optimization is enabled, because we are storing the body part to target of the AI agent, and for the specified amount of consecutive shots related to one raycast, those shots will be landing on that body part to target, discarding all the functionality of the bullet spread in this way. Now let's enable strafing on the yellow guy to showcase how that value of consecutive shots related to one raycast can be too big, and which will cause additional issues. And you see how the impact effects are lagging behind the moving enemy, because the coordinate of the raycast first hit is stored as well. So if the value would be too big, which it is right now, it would cause those impact effects appearing at that exact coordinate for the duration of that optimization cycle, which means the enemy might have shifted already from that coordinate, but the impact effects are still appearing. That's why the number of consecutive shots for that single raycast should not be bigger than 2 or 3 maximum, maybe 4, depending on your exact situation, what kind of enemy it is. If it is a heavy kind of guy that moves slowly, then yeah, it could be a little bit more. If it is a stationary target, or that some kind of enemy which does not move in any way, maybe he's within some cover, some kind of pillbox or whatever, then you would not notice those issues even if the value would be bigger than what is recommended. But in case of the moving enemies, that's where you need to be careful with how much of those optimized shots per raycast you specify. Another thing to note is when the AI agent will reload his weapon, this optimization cycle also gets resetted, because during his reload the enemy has moved, and so the next burst that will be fired upon enemy would have its first raycast placed on an exact body part to target instead of that previous coordinate that was there before the reload happened. So the reset of the optimization cycle for the raycast shooting happens in 3 cases. First is when the reload happens. Second is when the next enemy becomes the nearest target. So when there is in other words, when there is a change between previous and the next closest target, and when the amount of the consecutive shots in raycast optimization cycle is reached. Later on in the series, we will do the tests of multiple enemies engaging each other, and there we will demonstrate increase of FPS on the mobile device as this optimization gets activated. The more heavy is the combat, the more noticeable this optimization effect becomes. Usually when it is just a couple guys on each side fighting each other, it's not that big of a performance hit in the first place. So its best use case is for combat heavy scenes with dozens of enemies. So that's it for this tutorial. See you in the next one.